Hello everybody, my name's Ryan and I'm a driving instructor. Today, graduated driving licenses. So, graduated driving licenses, what are they? Well, they're a way of changing the licensing system within the UK as a result of a number of different things that have happened involving accidents and younger people. Before we start on all that though, subscribe to the channel, it's free. Subscribe. And if you want to see content early, become a member. And also if you like it, comment as well. Tell us how you feel about graduated driving licenses. So, what graduated driving licenses is going to be a change in the way that the New Driver Act works. Currently, New Driver Act, in the first 2 years, well, you're unrestricted where you can go, what time you can go out, all the rest of it. You can drive like a regular driver. You just can't get more than 6 points in that first 2 years. So if you get caught drink driving, if you get caught using your phone, if you get caught running a couple of red lights, you get caught speeding a couple of times, you get forced to resit the driving test, including the theory. Now everybody knows that because it's a theory test question, yeah? Right, okay. So what about graduated driving licenses? What do? Well, they add another layer of bureaucracy, let's call it. Am I in favour of it? Kind of not really, no. I think you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do within the confines of the law. Drive your car properly, safely, and with the minimal amount of risk. The idea being put forward is that they do certain things, including limiting the time you go out, not being able to carry passengers, not being able to do certain types of work, maybe being restricted to cars only and not vans, maybe even being restricted to a certain maximum horsepower potentially. There's lots of things in there. With regards to the policing, how do you police something like that? Well, that's really easy. It's called a black box. All the new drivers, all they do is they just make them compulsory to have a telematics black box fitted. Did a video on it a couple of weeks ago. They make it compulsory to have this black box fitted. And it's not the police that enforce it, it's now your insurer. So your insurer, well, they don't know how many people you're going to carry because it doesn't record data like that. But they know where you live, they know where you're storing the car, they know what time of day you're out, they know how fast you're going, they know how you're cornering, they know how you're accelerating. They know if you're misbehaving in the car because it comes up and it detects it and it gives them information. So the insurance company would therefore increase your risk. Make sense? On the back of last week's video where we had the speed limiter issue, where all new cars from the 1st of July in the EU are going to have an audible warning. Potentially in the future it may be an external warning, so when you're walking down the street and you hear a car going past that's got this buzzing sound, you know it's speeding. Or potentially even engineering it so the car intentionally slows down the speed limit and you can't do a thing about it. That could be part of that system, the same thing, another level or another idea of control within that. So you could limit that New Driver Act just simply by tech, by a bit of software. Maybe even having a black box fitted to every single car. We kind of have been doing that for quite a long time. There's certain services like the Vauxhall Stellantis OnStar service where it's linked directly to your phone. If you have an accident, it automatically calls the police. There's lots of these systems already in there. There's lots of control being added to devices and items all the time. Maybe as part of that control, it could be having a limitation on your mileage or what time you go out. And if you go out at certain times or more riskier times, then it makes you pay more insurance. Part of the graduated driving licence could be that. The Australian system, for example, you pass your test, you effectively are a learner up to you pass your test. You go and do a provisional for 2 years. That's where you sit on provisional plates, P plates, not passed plates, provisional plates, and you can't misbehave in that 2 years. As soon as you must display the plates as well. At the end of the 2 years, then they do a short test with an instructor who then allows you to have a full license. Another version of that, why not at the end of the New Driver Act then have a 20 question theory and an eyesight test? That's very easy to do. You could have a question such as, you get to a roundabout, where do you give way? To the right, dead ahead, on the left, behind you. There would be really simple questions that as a driver you'd be able to get correct. But if you were kind of a bit rough and ready with your driving, you might not get them correct, and therefore people might fail, and might be a way of doing that. Why not go one step further? We already have to renew licenses every 10 years. Why can't we do an eyesight test? Even if you went to Specsavers a week before, got an eyesight test, and you just put in your receipt number, right, that's an eyesight test. Good, you've had an eyesight test, so therefore you must need glasses to drive. And then do a short based on theory question set. You could do it online. Probably AI will be able to beat it now, but that's not the point. Maybe that could be something for the future to improve driving in the UK. One of the things that did come up for graduated driving licenses, which I didn't really agree with, was before you take a test is you have a minimum number of instructor-led hours. Now, why do you think I disagree with that? It comes down to economics, really. People can't afford to take 60 lessons compulsory. Even if they set it at 40, you might get some superstar that comes through that's quite capable of passing a test in 30 hours. You don't want them sat in your car for another 10 hours stewing on board. I can drive really well, I'm bored. You wouldn't want that. What happens if they go out with mum and dad? How are you going to prove those hours? Minimum number of hour terms before taking a test has got so many pros and cons. Lists and lists and lists of these pros and cons. It's so complicated that it shouldn't be done that way. I'm all in favour of everybody in the world doing driving lessons with an approved driving instructor, but I can't imagine what workload those instructors would then be under to provide that service. Imagine if you had to give every one of your pupils 100 hours of instruction. 100 hours at today's rate, what's that? Probably $3,500 in driving lessons. Who's got $3,500 to do a driving test? Nobody. There's lots of things in this graduated driving license thing, and you've probably seen down the side here of the emails and the texts that have gone on, or the website that this has come up with, and the survey involved. It's very complicated. Would it happen? Potentially. Black box technology, why not? Black box technology, as said before, been around 10 years or more. All the new cars coming out with all these different things that have been added to them, speed sensors and maximum speeds and things like that. Does that mean that all of the cars in the future won't be able to exceed 70 on a motorway? Potentially. Does that mean we won't need speed cameras anymore? Possibly. Imagine switching it off with Carly or something like that, and then you speed and nobody tells that you're speeding. And you go in front of the judge and he goes, you deliberately switch that off, I'm giving you 12 points banned. Potentially that could be a thing. Lots of things to talk about with graduated driving licenses. Kind of hope you like the video, I hope you like the content. If you did, subscribe, put a like on the video, maybe put a comment in, tell us what you think, because this is so complicated, it's way above me. certainly above everybody else, certainly above everybody in the industry. This is like politics, isn't it, really? I do hope that you enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.